software. This software is mainly for the casino surveillance department. And what this software does is it helps surveillance randomly pick employees for observation. So one of the things that surveillance does is amongst the many jobs, duties that they have to do, such as watching the drops, security events, monitoring the count rooms and cage departments, slots and table games, and other activities in the casino. They use this software to randomly pick employees for observations. And the one of the key point in this is to watch individuals that might not attract their normal attention to, and they might be missing certain clues on certain employees within certain departments. So the software was created to help surveillance pick certain employees throughout the their observation procedures, and also to make it a fair process instead of just concentrating on, let's say, the table games department. They can watch slots or cage or housekeeping or other departments as well. So it makes it a fair process, where they're not just concentrating on just one department, and they can watch and observe the entire floor. So how this software works is very easy to use. The first thing is to access the admin section here. I'll log in here. And the first thing that you have to do once you have the application installed on your network is you want to do a data input. You don't necessarily have to do this. If you want to, you can manually input in each employee's data, but the quick way is if you can get a list from HR or payroll or backgrounds, you can import the entire list. So I'm gonna go into the import here and the import module here to see a sample of how an Excel sheet with employee data prior to import would be here. So all you have to do is make sure that you have all these columns names here on your Excel file. If you're using the new Excel file system, which is the XLSX, you want to change that to the .xls, the older format. Once you have your columns and you have your all your employee data here. So some of these columns here, ID should be in a sequential order. Employee ID number, first name, middle name, last name, the department, director, the status of full-time, terminated, or part-time. Disable, this should be all false. And user capture, you could automatically insert your username in here if you like. And then to import it, you will use these commands here. So for the employee table, you would use the import Excel file, and then you would locate your Excel file, pick your Excel file, and then open, and it should automatically import it into your database system here. Okay, so once you have your employee data, so for example, I have 3 users here. Okay, so this list here will only show you the full-time and part-time employees list. It won't show you any others, such as terminated or on leave, etc. Okay. One point to make before we move on is the software was originally designed as the drug test database, so it looks very similar to that. Okay, so once I have my employees information here, I can view all my employees. And these are my employees. I can pan through them. Okay, so if to update their information, you will use the let me go here. Let me use the corrections option here, and I'll log in to the corrections options. And then I can open up my employee data, and then I can make changes, pick a different table games or departments, or I could change their status here. Okay. And then we're gonna go into the generator. Okay, so how the generator works is it randomly picks from your list of employees in the system. Okay, it will pull all full-time and part-time employees only. So if you have an employee that per se, for example, if they are they're terminated or on leave of absence, or they're exempt from the drug, not the drug test, the observation, then they won't be pulled. Okay. So let's go back to the generator here, and then we're going to generate some employees to watch. So once you click on the open generator command there, you're going to get into the random generator here. What the random generator does, it does a few things here. It will only pull full-time and part-time employees only. Okay, it will randomly pick employees based on your input here. So if I only wanted, let's say for example, I only wanted 2 employees, okay, and then I'll generate it. Okay, so it's gonna kick out this report telling me that it has randomly picked it 2 employees for observations. Okay, and we picked it. Oh, let me make it a little bigger here. Pick the gym and pick the unit. Okay, I'll close out of that. If you go to the pending test now and refresh that, okay, so on the pending test here is where your 2 employees who were pulled for observation will appear. Okay, so let's say we ran the generator, it randomly picked it 2 employees, or however many employees that is pulled from the list for observations. They will appear in this list here. Okay, so let's say Jim here, his employee number is 333. So let's go here. Let's say we observe him for throughout the shift, and we input his info here, and we expand down here. Okay, and we observed him and saw nothing suspicious. So let's fill this in here. We'll say he passed observation. If not, then you would probably use the generate incident report using the surveillance database system. And let's say I'll put in nothing suspicious was observed. Okay, now click done here. Okay, now I'll close out of that. If I refresh my list here, you see that Jen now is no longer on the pending list there. Okay, so the next person is Yuna, so we'll watch her for the shift, and let's say nothing happens, so Control C here, and we'll input in her number here, and again nothing, so we'll click here and fill out these past observation results. Nothing suspicious. Okay, and we'll choose done, and we'll close out of this, refresh our list, and now there's no more pending. So in a live demo per se, a live example would be, for example, a casino will have over large casinos usually have about over 1,000 employees, so you would generate however many that you would have the manpower to cover within the week, or within a particular shift. So some surveillance departments, they use this software to generate employees. For example, each surveillance agent must at least observe 2 employees within a 2-hour period or 4-hour period or half of the shift. Okay, so they would use this to generate that. So they're done. So I'm going to generate one more list here, another list, and say we'll open a generator command, and we're going to generate only one this time. Okay, so what this number here tells you is that the availability of how many employees you can pull based on your employee list. So here I have 3 employees that I'm able to pull. Okay, so we'll generate one. Okay, and it will kick out this report here. Now notice one thing, that it has 3 individuals here. Okay, this is because we ran this already, and this report shows you that we ran this already today. Okay, based on the date. Okay, so we ran it and we have 2 other employees already. So here's a new one that we just generated. Okay, go back to our pending list here, refresh our list. Okay, so if you run it on different days, the report would tell you that you only ran it for this particular day, and it only has those 2 individual employees, but since we're running for the same date. Okay, so we'll choose this here, enter employee results. So we watched Yuna again, nothing. Okay, so here you'll see the old record here. We already observed her on this date here. Okay, but since we ran the generator again, we have another it creates another open slot for the results. So we'll choose here, we'll put in the dates here, and it captures the user also that's making this input here. See, observe nothing again, so nothing suspicious, and we'll put observation completed. Okay, choose done. Okay, if you do observe something, then you would set it to fail the observation, and then you would probably create an incident report that you saw Yuna taking some cash from the register at window 1, and then you would input that in your normal surveillance database system, which there is a surveillance database application that we also have. It's also free as well. And we'll close out of this. Okay, now she doesn't appear on the list. To print reports, we'll go into the report section, or right before that, let me go back to the employees tab here. Okay, I'm going to view all the employees. Okay, when you view all the employees, you'll see that all their results appears at the bottom. So I'll pan to the next one here, and this is Yuna. Okay, and we did 2 on her. Okay, and let's go to the third one here, Jim here. Let me make this a little bit, stretch this a little bit so you can see it. There we go. Yeah, go back up a little bit. Okay, and we'll close this out of here. Let me pan back a little bit here. Okay, pan back a little bit here. Okay, let's close out of there. Let's go to the report section here. So once you have all that, you can use some of these reports here. For example, let's go with the view department report. Okay, so it's going to ask you for the department name. Let's say slot. We want for all the slots. Let me try that again here and think view department report slots. There we go. Okay, so in the slots department, stretch this out and maximize it so that you can see it better. Okay, you see it'll list the employees record and then all of the generated test records down below. Okay, if I pan to the next page, it'll show the next employee for slots. Then at the end, it'll give you a summary here. Okay, you'll see that I have 2 employees in the slot department. Okay. You could print an employee report too if you like. employee number, let's say 2222. Okay, and if you have a photo, it'll appear here as well. Stretch this out a little bit here. Okay, so to print this employee profile, you'll use the Control and P keys on your keyboard. If I do that, it'll give me an option to print it to a PDF file or to a printer. Okay, and let's look at a few other one here. Let's say view generated employee listing date range. Okay, so for the date range here, okay, you can print this as a quarterly, biannual, or annual report. It's up to you. But here in this example here, I'm gonna put in some wide range dates just to kind of get everything out of there. Okay, so we'll go 2056 or something. Okay, pass or fail. I want all the one that passed it only, and it'll give you these reports here. Okay, make this a little bigger so you can see it here on your screen here. Okay, and as you can see, based on the date range that I set, it'll kick out this reports for me, and this will be filtered by date range, passed it or failed, and it'll give me all this here, and you can see everybody passed it, or if there's a fail, you can run a fail report as well, and it tells you how many employees the surveillance department overall has spent time observing through a period of a month, a quarter, and you can base that off of different quarters and say, you know, first quarter we only have 100 observations, or most of the observations were in slots, security, table games, etc., and then give you a total record count here as well. Okay, I'll close out of that here. So these reports are extremely helpful to help you analyze the data and your observation process also. And once again, the generator tab, the corrections tab, you could change employee status and term date as well here. If we click here, and let's log in here so I can show you that. Employee number, let's say we'll go 2222, and we'll open a UNA. And this one, it changes the employee status and term date only. So if this person has been terminated, we can set that, or we can go in here and change this person from part-time to full-time. Okay, and click finish here. Okay, so the only difference here is that this changes the status, limits the user to changing the status and term date only, and then the correction is actually for all the data inside the employee profile. Okay, so such as all these general data here. Okay, one more comment before we leave this section here. There is a last user modify here. Okay, so this field here, these fields tells you the last user who modified the data for this particular employee here. So it tracks the user inputs and activity. Okay, close that. And if you have any questions about how to use the application comes with a tab called the How To, and it has a knowledge base here, okay, or a table of contents. You can choose that, and you can go through all these tips and information that are listed here, so that you can kind of read through this, and it'll explain the different functions and features that the application has and offers, and what you can do and what you can't do. Okay, database maintenance, application security, changing employees records, employee results, how to purging employees record as well. So all those information are here. Okay, you can add new users and etc. So most of that information would be contained in the table of contents. So if you have any question on how to use the application, we don't have a README file with the application. It's embedded into the application table of contents here. So all the general information will be there. Okay. All right, and that's it for the SRPEO or surveillance random pick employees observation software. This software is extremely helpful for the surveillance department, especially on the approach that surveillance has a fair observation process when it comes to the view of the operation side, where there's usually that stereotypical view of the operation side, looking at surveillance and saying surveillance is only concentrating on table games or slots, and they're not watching the cage or other departments. And so that's where this software was created to help manage and make it a fair process of randomly picking different employees for general observations. Surveillance always holds the option of watching certain things that they see that there's a potential risk there, whether it's theft or infractions. But this is another great option for the surveillance department to make it a fair approach when watching different departments. So that's for this that's the training for this software here. If you have any questions about how to use this software, or how to about each of these different modules in here, feel free to send us your messages and your questions. And usually what we do is we collect enough questions, and then we create a video training, and we upload that so that everybody can reference back to it. But thank you for attending the training today, and I hope that this answers a lot of the questions that you might have regarding the SRPEO software. This software is free to use by all casinos, and without the registration, so you don't need to register it, you can use it, and I hope it really helps you. Other than that, thank you for attending the training, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.